it's funny because everybody thought the foregone conclusion was, and I agree, should be Patrick Mahomes should have been at the top of the list. Now, if there was going to be a player that wasn't there, I would have argued for two people, Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey. Tyreek Hill came in at number 1, so I'm good with that. The first thing that I want to ask you guys about is, when you guys saw this, Lamar Jackson ahead of Patrick Mahomes, Mike, what are you good with this? Do you understand it? What do you think about this?
No, I'm not good with it. I mean, it just when you do stuff like this, unanimously kind of accepted football facts that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback, first of all, and best player in the league. You just try and it's a new year, so we just want to give someone else the number 1. You kind of illegitimize the entire list. And that's how I feel about it. It's like these players pick these things based off of who their friends are, who won the award last year. We want to kind of get this trophy to someone else, playing politics, playing this. Like Justin Herbert at 75 and Brock Purdy at 25 just makes me want to jump off a bridge. So it's just, it illegitimizes the whole list when we're just kind of playing favorites and kind of just spitballing this thing. Maybe we should just change this to this is the top 100, right? This is the top 100, but we're only going to reveal 50 to 100. So these are the top 100 players, but they're not in order. And then the next group is this is the top 50. These guys are all in the top 50, but they didn't make it. And then top 25, but it's not in order, because putting it in order, some of this makes no fucking sense. We have Sean Gary in the top 50, and he has 0 10-sack seasons in his career. I think he's a phenomenal player, but he's in the top 50, and Aaron Rodgers is 92nd.
So it's a player-driven list, and Joe, I'm going to let you go right after this. Chris Long said today they used to bring this list to him right before he had a team meeting. He still have to shower and get dressed, and they'd be like, "Hey, Chris, can we get 10 minutes for you to fill it?" And he'd be like, "Absolutely not. Get that out of my face." And then he would be he'd see guys eating lunch or whatever, and they would be super into it and filling out, or if he did have time, he'd fill the top 10, and then they'd be like, "Oh, that's great. I'll take it from you and I'll fill out the rest." Assistants around the building. So it's an accumulation of people who get voted onto the top 25 of these lists, and then they get votes and the points awarded and slotted in at spots. Go ahead, Joe.
Mike, the fact that Aaron Rodgers even made the list and he played 4 plays last year is ridiculous.
This isn't supposed to be the top 20, because think about this, Joe.
The top 100 players of last year.
Okay, where would you rank Kirk Cousins on this list?
Nowhere. Okay, so here's what I found out. Here's what I found out about this list.
15 spots above Rodgers.
This is what I found out about this list, is that the players vote on it, and they vote on it right around Thanksgiving. So it's in the middle of the season. And if you go back this list and you look at this list and you look at the players around that time, this list is 100% to where it was. Tyreek Hill was dominating the league around Thanksgiving. Patrick Mahomes struggled at the beginning of the season, didn't pick it up till the end of the year. Christian McCaffrey was on his thing. So if you look at what's going on, this is right around there, and it doesn't matter. To me, you can come up with your top 10. Do you think the top 10 players are correct? Yes, it's a pretty good 1 through 10 is good. Now the ranking of it is probably not there. Everybody's going to have their difference, but we've always talked about when you have a top 10 list, as long as you have the top 10 players that everybody can more than likely agree on, it doesn't matter what order you put them in.
But I don't agree with the top 10 here, because Justin Jefferson's outside the top 15. And that's my whole point, is that we have to clarify, is this the top 100 players of last season? Because then Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be on the list, and then they're wrong for even putting him on the list. Or is this the top players as of now, or as of when they took this quiz? Then Aaron Rodgers should be way the fuck up on this list. So both ways, whatever way they identify this as, is wrong. For example, the safeties on here make absolutely no sense. Who's the best safety in the league right now? Even if it's not Derwin James, who is it?
It's probably Hamilton,
Jesse Bates, one of those guys. Yeah. Well, Antoine Winfield Jr. is the highest rated safety on this, which isn't too crazy. But who's second above all the other safeties in the league? Jordan Poyer is in the top 80. in the same range of players like Justin Herbert.
So here's the thing.
Brock Purdy's number 28.
He's at 65. Jordan Poyer is at 65 as a 33-year-old safety who can hardly play anymore. He's not even a starter. You think he's starting over Javon Holland in Miami? He's not a starter.
I don't think so. Javon Holland is a good player though. Like I really think Javon Holland is gonna break out.
He's not on the hundreds. He's on.
From what I understand, they do it by the year. So this is of last season, like of the year.
Not Jordan Poyer's
not overall. Who's the best player?
Any point in his entire career has Jordan Poyer ever been in the top 65? Let alone now, or Thanksgiving last year.
I think maybe I could have made a case for him in like 2021. I think it was. I would say that this list is achieving its goal, Mike, because you are taking your hat off and running your fingers through your illustrious hair. Like it's they're getting a rise out of fans. They're getting engagement from all of this stuff. I too look at it and I go, if you're going to have a list of the top 100 players, Patrick Mahomes just needs to be number one. And then it's the only, you get the sheet to fill it out. Patrick Mahomes is number one. And then you can fill in whoever you want. It's unerasable. You can't color over it. It's just locked in there at number one.
Like because the next 10 years, no matter what he does.
So can we call, let's call this list what it is. It's a attention grabber. They vote last year. They bring it out during preseason to get your attention, get people talking about football. And this list right here, I can 100% tell you was altered. 100% this list is bullshit, and it's not what the players voted on because there's one person that I can't find. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's one person who played last year who retired in the offseason that should be around the top 10, and he's not in there.
Yeah, so that's the thing, too. That they said this a few years ago that players who retired would not be included on the list. Which is weird because it is the list. I'm just saying because there was something about this a few years ago when the list came out, like Brady retired, and then when Brady announced that he was coming back, they made edits to the top 100 list or something. There was something fishy like that going on. But yeah. I mean, again, Aaron Donald should have just been marked in at number 4. So it's almost like when you get one of those puzzles like a Sudoku, and it's like the 1 is here and the 7's here, it should have been Pat Mahomes here, and then down on line 5 or 6, Aaron Donald. And it's like you can't erase either one of these names. This is just the sheet.
So Zaire Franklin is number 100. So basically, we just we're going to give you 100 because you're not really the top 100. But since we can't count Aaron Donald, here we go.
I think they should do it differently completely. I think what they should do is like I said, either do it without the numbers, without the actual ranking somehow, or if we are going to keep asking the players, let's ask each player for their position only to rank the top guys at their position, and then we will have experts that put this thing together where it makes some fucking sense.
Yeah, but that's what they want to take out because they want it to be a completely player-driven list. And my thing is
the list participants, but then the order is put into a order where it's this guy won 3 Super Bowls and 3 MVPs in 4 years. He probably is number 1.
So here's the thing that I didn't want to talk conspiracies, but I'm going to. I believe that there are agents out here who might have 5 or 6 players that are sort of practice squad roster guy, roster bubble guys, but they also have a big time client and they say, hey, I have another client. I need you to vote this guy higher and higher on your top 25 list because this comes with a little bit of notoriety, right? It's it's a big deal to be on this list from a social media standpoint. You get a lot of publicity, you get air time on NFL Network, you get other guys that are talking about your player and his team. These things go into contract negotiations. Hey, you want to bring this guy in? He sells jerseys. People really like him. They really respect him. Look at what he is around the league, the way he's viewed. And I do think there might be a little bit of that, agents sort of fluffing some spots for players that might be on their roster.
Did you see the news? the player on number 1 on the list just got paid like $100 million. What a coincidence.
Yeah,
Well,
Drew analysis. Probably
if
pretty
this list really means something, if this list is really legit and actually means like these are the best players, right? That these guys should be on the field all the time. Why isn't Justin Simmons signed it? He's number 57. Why doesn't he have a contract yet? What team wants him?
Agent.
He's a top 60 player in this league, but the guy can't get on the field right now. Can't find a team to pay him.
Well, because he also probably
if they've got him there, Joe. They've got him rated above like every safety except for one.
Yeah, he's.
I think Buda Baker's in there somewhere too, isn't he, Mike? I didn't look, but I think Buda Baker is
right in the same range as Derwin. But Kyle Hamilton and Javon Holland's ratings on this, just throw them out. Like, just pretend like it didn't happen. I guess just pretend like these guys don't exist is basically what the players did. Like I said, like the whole list to me is illegitimized, and I'm just gonna look at it as a content piece for the rest of my life.
I do want to. This is the last thing I want to talk about the list, and let's skew it a little positive because I do think it's an honor. These are your peers, and like some of these votes are good, and it's good to be recognized by your peers. Like, what if there was like a podcaster or like a influencer list, and everybody was like, "Hey, Mike is the number 3 influencer on whatever." Wouldn't you be like, "Oh, this is a pretty cool honor to get this, especially to be in the top 10?" Like Chris Jones was celebrating to being in the top 10. Max Crosby at number 10. Joe, you're going to go last on this one. Maybe Mike has some positive things to say about this. I was really happy about this because the other night I went to a birthday party. I was hanging out with my brother, and we were talking about it was like a John Stamos moment from Step Brothers. And we were like, who's the most underrated player in the league? And at the same time, we both went Max Crosby. Because whenever you watch a Raiders game, and for me, it's only against the Chargers and whenever they're on primetime, every single time I watch the Raiders, Max Crosby is one of the biggest problems on the defensive side of the football. For me, he's in the same breath as the guys like Micah Parsons, like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, and we just don't talk about Max Crosby on the same level. And I think that this was a good acknowledgement that more fans across the league, because the Raiders, they haven't been good. They haven't been good for several decades, maybe 1 year. Bisaccia got the boys fired up, went on a little run. But other than that, not good. But Max Crosby deserves a little bit of shine, and I was happy to see this because the guy works super hard. And if you watch any Raiders game, he is definitely jumping out as like, holy shit, who is that guy? Like, that is incredible what's happening right now. Mike, go.
I wouldn't say I'm happy to see him ranked in the top 10. Happy is a very, 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 very strong word, but I'm with you. I feel like this is a year late. Like, even with the Madden ratings last year, I think I made a video about it, how they shafted Crosby. They had him like 82 or not 82, like 85. It was like he was a good player in the game, but he wasn't one of the top edge rushers in the game. I think he was just inside the top 10. And I bet Crosby was ranked way down the 2023 list compared to top 10 here. But I'm with you. And just to add on to everything that you said, Tony, it's more than just what he does for the pass rush. And there's plenty of great pass rushers in the league. There's plenty of guys that are just purely going to go get the quarterback. Your Hassan Reddicks, your fill in the blank name. But what really takes Crosby to the next level, and the guys like TJ Watt, the guys like Myles Garrett, is what he does in the run game. You can't run it to Max Crosby's side. You just can't. If you don't have Trent Williams at left tackle, you can't run it to the left side if he lines up on the left side, or otherwise it's going to get shut down. And then the motor on that guy, like it's impossible to find people with a motor that high. There's very, very, very few handful of players that are playing as hard on the last play as the first play. But Joe, go ahead. It is earned his top 10 spot at his position too, one of the more important positions on the team. And what he does for the Raiders is kind of immeasurable.
Yeah, and to be able to be up there, I mean, you got to remember Max Crosby was taken in the same draft as Nick Bosa, so he was already up there as has somebody to compete with, and the motor on this guy, and to come out here and do what he does every year, and he already gets the hate on him because of the team that he plays on, so they're already going to lower him and stuff. So I bet you making this list, it was hard enough for the people to be like, all right, let's put a Raider in the top 10, even though he has it coming. And to be honest with you, he should have been at least at the very least second in defensive player of the year last year when it went to Myles Garrett. There's no way Myles Garrett should have even had that. And like you said about Madden, Mike, finally Madden, I still think I think he should have been in the 99 club. They didn't give him that. They gave him a 97 rating this year on Madden, but at least they put him as the top left defensive end. And you think Max Crosby was good last year? He's on a mission. Like, if you listen to anything that he said this offseason, he's done nothing but train for 6 months to get himself. He had 2 surgeries this offseason right after the season. He played hurt last year and made top 10 and was number 10. Like, he had his knee. Remember, his knee swelled up, and then he had his arm.
Yeah.
He broke his arm. So he played hurt, and now the Raiders got him help on the defensive line and put Christian Wilkins right next to him. Oh, Max Crosby, if you thought he was good last year, wait till he's in the top 5 next year.
Yeah, and like I said, I can be happy for players individually outside a team, right? And this is another one of those situations where it's like and I'm guilty of it too. A lot of times when we talk about certain players, we leave out other guys that are deserving to be in that same conversation that we are excited to watch play. Like, we know we're going to see something special. And to me, that's why I watch football. Like, it's not like I just watch the Chargers. I probably watch 200 football games, 215 football games a year, because I go back and watch on NFL Network. I'll watch the versions of these because I want a closer look at how some of these players that I've been excited about or whatever, like in the draft, I've talked about this player and it's like, oh, I look at the box score. They had a good game or a bad game. Let's go see how that worked out for them. We're going to skip Dak. We're going to skip Purdy. I want to talk.
Wait, Joe. Or Tony, sorry. Just one more thing. Just since we're talking about Ed. I know we said that was just one more thing. Also, Joe, 99 overall might be a bit far. I like 97 or 98. If you have a 20 sack season or at least close to it, like 15 plus, I'm in for 99 overall.
Have a healthy 99.
Okay, I don't think he should be a 99. I don't.
No.
I think that if any tight end's 99, it's Kittle. And again, that's another guy I put like 98. You know what I mean? Like right there, not quite in that club. That's like Mahomes, Hill, like your very few players. But I wanted to ask about Nick Bosa at 28 with Crosby at 10. I don't even think Joe would vouch for that.
I don't like the whole, like you said something about the whole list. Like Devontae Adams is at 40, Mike. Come on. Like this whole list is screwed up.
Don't you think that like Nick Bosa and Max Crosby are often debated, right? Like, shouldn't they be close to each other?
No, Nick Bosa is not a Max Crosby level.
If Crosby's 10, Bosa should be like 12.
No.
I don't know.
I
I have Nick and Max both in that same really close margin. I'm a bigger fan of Myles Garrett than Joe is.
Myles was 99, I think. I think he made it.
I know what Joe said. Myles shouldn't get the MVP, the defensive MVP, and I was good with that. I just think the Browns defense did some incredible things, and I think it runs through him, so I was good with that. I mean, they were winning games with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and it was a defensive-led team a lot of weeks.
Yeah, the defense was led, cool, the whole defense. But when you actually look at the stats, you can't be like, oh, Myles Garrett beat out T.J. Watt or.
I think T.J. Watt's number one. T.J. Watt's my favorite.
Khalil Mack's my favorite, and he was in the top 30. Oh man, I can't. You know what's going to be great when Crosby gets traded to the Packers for a couple of years, and then finish his career, Hall of Fame career with the Chargers, just like Khalil Mack. Can't wait for that.
Exactly the same too, like where he comes for like the last 5 years, just enough time to retire as a Charger and not a Raider instead.
Yep. Go in the Hall of Fame.
I gotta go hit the juju for my newest TikTok dance, but until then, feel free to check out the channel and subscribe. And more importantly, turn on that notification bell so that way you can be notified next time we upload or go live. We're gonna be doing a lot of it this NFL season. I can't wait.